Welcome into NBA Now, brought to you by Chat Sports. Lots of NBA news and rumors to get into as we gear up for tonight's NBA Draft Lottery. I'm Harrison Graham. Alongside me is the mustache man himself. It's Jimmy Crowther. And Jimmy, lots of rumors to get into before tonight's Draft Lottery. Starting in the Big Apple with the Knicks. If they land the number one pick, looks like they may be trading it instead of drafting Zion Williamson.
Yeah, that was the report out today from Sean Charania, which frankly, I just do not understand. Now, I love Anthony Davis. I think when he's healthy, he's a top 5 talent in this league. But if you have the security of Zion Williamson at the number one pick, in my opinion, you absolutely take it. Now, Anthony Davis, like I said, top 5 talent, but he comes with so many different question marks that I don't think Knicks or the Knicks fans would be happy with that trade in the end.
Yeah, and if you look at Zion Williamson, of course, clearly the top pick in this year's draft. His year at Duke was borderline historic, 23 points per game, almost 9 boards, over 2 assists. The field goal percentage there, almost 70%. A player who's, improving as a jumper, has superstar potential, not only on the court, in my opinion, but also in terms of putting butts in the seats at Madison Square Garden, selling jerseys. But the Knicks aren't sold on his superstar potential, which is why they're considering trading for Anthony Davis if they land the number one pick tonight.
Yeah, like I said, I don't understand. I think this is one of the most marketable number one overall picks that could come into the league right away. I think New York fans would line up out the door to see him. I don't think it's the same with Anthony Davis. For me, like I said, I'd rather draft Zion Williamson, but we want to know what you guys think. If you'd rather draft Zion Williamson with the number one pick, type Z in the comment section below. And if you'd rather trade that number one pick for Anthony Davis, type A in the comment section below.
Yeah, and I think you could have a different answer for a different team depending on where you are, but I just think you put Zion Williamson in Madison Square Garden, you got to take him. So I'm with draft Zion, but we want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Also, if you want to take a look at the last 5 lottery picks for the Knicks, this is what it looks like. You got Kevin Knox last year, who's a player I think can be part of a winning team. Frank Ntilikina has not had success. They took him over Dennis Smith Jr., who, of course, they traded for last year in that Kristaps Porzingis trade, who is now in Dallas. Jordan Hill, Danilo Gallinari back in 2009 and 2008. Zion Williamson, clearly a next-level player in comparison to some of these past lottery picks they have. I don't think you can afford to pass on him. Moving on, another player in this draft that the Knicks appear to be high on, Cam Reddish from Duke as well. Had a bit of an up-and-down year as Duke did not thrive as kind of that third wheel behind R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson. Does have big-time upside, can create his own shot, can be a knockdown shooter, although he didn't show it at Duke as much last year. I think, Jimmy, he's got the tools to be an excellent 3-and-D player in this league.
Yeah, I think his 7-foot wingspan, 7'1" wingspan is huge. I would love to see him turn into a good 3-and-D player, but that's his ceiling, is a good role player for a good team. I don't see him making an all-star team anytime in his career. I think this is more of a, hey, Knicks fans, if we don't get Zion Williamson, it's not Zion or bust. We like these other guys too. So you see what Cam Reddish did at Duke at 13.5 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and then the 33.3% three-point shooting, which isn't bad, but it's not what they expected him to be. They expected him to be a knockdown shooter at Duke, and he wasn't that.
Yeah, and he was underwhelming, too, during those games when Zion was out with the foot injury, and I think that was disappointing, not only from Duke fans, but probably some NBA scouts as well, as can he take over a game when your top guy is out? He was not able to do that, but the Knicks are interested. I think this would only be a case if things go really wrong in tonight's lottery and they fall, outside of the top 3, but, Cam Reddish certainly a player that is on the Knicks' radar. I expect him to go somewhere between 3 and 7 in this year's draft. All right, folks, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. Go to chatsports.com/bet. The NBA playoffs going on right now. Of course, you got 4 teams left. Warriors still the favorite there. Use that promo code NBA120 to get that 120% bonus. Jimmy, I like making money. You put down $100, they're going to give you $120 for free. So go to chatsports.com/bet. BetDSI, the online top sports book around the globe. Brett Brown now. All right, here we go. Somehow he was on the hot seat in Philly heading into that Game 7 against Toronto. They lose in heartbreaking fashion. Looks like he's going to be able to keep his job, though.
Yeah, the report was that there was no way that he comes back if they lose in this round, which I didn't understand from the jump. I think Brett Brown has done a terrific job. He's been through the thick and the thin with the Philadelphia 76ers, and all the players respect him. I know Joel Embiid has his respect. He is very outspoken about it. Same with Jimmy Butler, who's a free agent, by the way, and is going to be huge for them to retain this summer. I think there is a lot going on in Philadelphia, and they have a lot to look forward to, but on the court right now, they had Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, J.J. Redick, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris. 3 of those guys free agents this summer.
Yeah, you got to factor in, especially Butler and Harris. What do you do with those guys if you have to pick one? Which direction do you go in? With me, if it's me, you got to bring back Jimmy Butler. He was the one constant in this playoff run. Whereas game to game, you did not know what you were going to get out of Joel Embiid, out of Ben Simmons. Butler comes in there, kind of becomes that, junkyard player for them. I think he's a guy you have to prioritize. It's just, you wonder, though, with Philadelphia, what's the missing piece? You could argue that that's the best starting 5 in the NBA outside of maybe a full-strength Golden State lineup. So I'll ask you guys, comment below, what is the missing piece for the 76ers? You know what? A jump shot for Ben Simmons is the missing piece.
That's what it is.
If that guy can start to shoot the ball from the outside, it opens up the floor for everybody. But I want to hear from you guys. Is it a player you can get in free agency? What is the missing piece for the 76ers squad?
Absolutely. And I also think they need to add depth. I think they need to add depth to this team. Like you said, great starting 5. Don't have the depth there.
All right, another coach in the news, Billy Donovan. Now, there's not necessarily news of him potentially leaving OKC, but Michigan's job just opened after John Beilein took the job in Cleveland, and the Vegas odds have Donovan. It's the second best odds at plus 350 to be the next Michigan coach. And a lot of people are out there saying why. He's got a good job in OKC. He's got some star talent there. Well, don't forget, he led Florida to back-to-back national titles in the mid-2000s. You wonder what the future is in Oklahoma City. There's not a lot of roster moves they can make from a financial perspective. They haven't been able to get out of the first round without Kevin Durant. So maybe if you're Billy Donovan, if Michigan comes calling, this might be the move for him.
Yeah, I think it adds a lot of safety and security for Billy Donovan, if anything. We see that in the regular season, he does great. He almost overachieves sometimes with this Oklahoma City Thunder team, but the past 3 years not coming out of the first round at all, has been super disappointing, especially this year. They had such a perfect path to the Western Conference Finals. They had the easiest road, and they lose in the first round. Now, obviously, Portland's in the Western Conference Finals. Obviously, they've earned it. But people were calling for change in Oklahoma City, so maybe he's tired of the scrutiny and he's ready to go to Michigan, where it's a pretty good coaching job in college basketball.
Yeah, and again, I just don't know what the ceiling is for Oklahoma City as far as with what they have on their roster. Russell Westbrook, Paul George. I think he gets a little bit of a pass this year. Donovan does, because those guys both had off-season surgery after the season, so clearly they weren't right, especially Paul George after the All-Star break just was not the same player. But I'll ask you guys, what should Billy Donovan do if Michigan comes calling? Should he stay in OKC? Should he leave for Michigan? Look, normally I would say, why would you make the lateral move back to college? But again, you have to consider the success. You have to consider where things are in Oklahoma City right now. I think if Michigan makes a nice offer, that might be a destination for Billy Donovan.
I agree. I think he stays in Oklahoma City ultimately. That's my opinion. I think he stays.
Again, type S for stay, type L for leave, and head to Michigan. All right, Jimmy, this is a funny story. Josh Jackson has been arrested, okay? And you see the headline. It says, Jackson arrested at a Florida music festival. So you're thinking, okay, probably had too much to drink, public intox. No, he was trying to sneak into a VIP section of this event on multiple occasions. Did not get in there, so ultimately police arrested him. He was handcuffed, and while police were not paying attention, he takes off with handcuffs. Just, I'm out of here. I'm fleeing the scene. So he faces a misdemeanor for trying to sneak into the VIP and a felony charge for trying to flee arrest. So that is where Josh Jackson is right now. And if you kind of look at his career so far, his 2 years with Phoenix, a little bit inconsistent. He was a 3-and-D type of prospect out of Kansas. Well, the 3 has not been there. Career under 30%. Pitches in some points, some rebounds. Not much of a creator. I like him as a defender, as an athlete, but he's just not producing on the offensive end. And you just wonder if maybe in tonight's, depending on how the draft lottery goes, then the draft in June, if Phoenix looks to upgrade at the wing position. Yeah,
this arrest is just icing on top of the cake for the pretty miserable career that Josh Jackson has had. Disappointing career, I should say. But like you said, the Phoenix Suns have really good odds in this lottery. They have a 14% chance at the number 1 pick, 13% chance at the number 2 pick, and they can't fall any lower than the number 7 pick. Obviously, they're hoping for Zion Williamson, as they all are. But what should Phoenix do? Should they upgrade at the wing position in the draft? If you think yes, type Y in the comment section below. If you think no, type in the comment section below.
Yeah, and it's just interesting with Phoenix. If it's me, look, I think that's certainly a position you upgrade, but if you get the number 1 pick, It's obviously Zion.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know they've been linked to Ja Morant. They like him a lot, but, we'll see what happens in the draft lottery tonight. Again, type Y for yes, type in for no if you think Phoenix should upgrade at wing in this year's draft.